At a train station in the city, there was a beggar who struggled to get by each day by asking passengers for money. Every day was the same, until one day he came across a tall, well-dressed man. The beggar thought to himself, "This man must be wealthy. If I ask him, I might get a good amount of money." He immediately approached and held out his hand, but the man didn't give him money right away. Instead, he asked, "You always ask others, but have you ever given anything yourself?" The beggar replied in surprise, "I'm a poor man. I have nothing to give anyone. I only know how to ask because I have nothing." The man smiled and said, "If you have nothing to give, then you shouldn't expect to receive. I'm a businessman, and I believe in the principle of giving and receiving. Only when you have something to offer me will I be ready to give you something in return." With that, he boarded the train and left. The beggar stood in silence. The man's words struck him like a blade cutting through his old way of thinking. He began to wonder. Maybe the reason I receive so little is because I only know how to ask, but never how to give. That question haunted him for many days. After hearing the stranger's words, the beggar couldn't stop thinking. The phrase, "If you can't give, don't expect to receive," kept echoing in his head. He began to ask himself, have I become so used to receiving that I've forgotten life also needs giving? But then he hesitated. I have nothing in my hands. What can I possibly give others? That thought stayed with him for 2 days without an answer. But on the third day, while sitting near the station as usual, he suddenly noticed wildflowers blooming by the roadside. An idea flashed through his mind. Why don't I pick some of these flowers and give them to those who give me money? He decided to try it immediately. When asking for money on the train, each time someone gave him a few coins, he offered them a flower in return. The people were surprised and delighted. They smiled, thanked him, and appreciated the small gift. From that day on, he began picking flowers every morning. The number of people who gave him money noticeably increased. But he also noticed, on days when he had no flowers to offer, fewer people helped him. That made him realize a simple but profound truth. When we know how to give, we receive more in return. One day, while begging on his usual train, the beggar suddenly saw the tall, well-dressed man again, the one who had changed his thinking. Without hesitation, he approached him with a radiant smile and said, "Today I have a gift for you. Please give me a little money, and in return, I'll give you some flowers." The man laughed, gave him some money, and accepted the flowers. Looking at the beggar warmly, he said, "Wonderful, you've become a businessman just like me." Those words lit up the beggar's mind like a shining light. He no longer saw himself as someone begging for coins. He began to feel the value of himself, of the small flowers, and of the act of giving. When the train stopped, he stepped onto the platform, looked up at the sky, and shouted, "I'm no longer a beggar. I'm a businessman. I will become wealthy." People around him looked at him with skeptical eyes, some even thinking he was crazy. But inside him, a powerful belief had been ignited. From that day on, he no longer begged as before. He started doing business with his newfound belief and shift in mindset. 6 months later, at that very station, 2 well-dressed men were preparing to board the train. One of them suddenly recognized the other and stepped forward to shake his hand. "Don't you recognize me?" The other shook his head. "I'm sorry, I don't remember us meeting." The first man smiled. "We met twice. The first time you refused to give me money. The second time you bought flowers from me on the train." The man froze in astonishment. "My God, you're the beggar. But now you look completely different. What are you doing now?" The man replied proudly, "Yes, I used to be a beggar, but now I'm a flower merchant. I'm on my way to another city to expand my business. Thanks to you, I learned something valuable. We only receive when we know how to give. I'm no longer someone who begs for money, I sell flowers. And that shift in mindset changed my life." They both smiled. A brief encounter had planted the seed of success in someone who once seemed hopeless. The beggar's story teaches us a profound lesson. Change begins with how we see ourselves. At first, he saw himself as a poor man with nothing to give. But when he changed his mindset from asking to giving, his life changed accordingly. The principle of giving and receiving isn't just true in business, it's a philosophy of life. When we give, even just a smile, a kind act, or a flower, we open doors to opportunity and connection. More importantly, how we view ourselves determines how others treat us. If we believe in our own value, the world will begin to believe it too. Success doesn't lie in our circumstances. It lies in our belief and our actions.